Fans, you always turn up, and you make the game what it is. So we think you deserve a better betting experience. Every time you bet with Fanatic Sportsbook, win or lose, you get up to 5% of your wager back in fan cash. Spend it on jerseys, fan gear, bonus bets, and more. And for a limited time, bet and get up to $1,000 in bonus bets over 10 days. Welcome to the most rewarding sportsbook.
spotted at this level in that last out and ran a good race. It was a really tough bunch in that spot 2 back, that condition 12-5 race. But again, I come back to West Island off that last out. David Cohen rode really well here the last 2 weeks, as he's going to be here on the weekends throughout the course of the meet, but it's going to be a short price as well. So we'll see how things unfold there in race number 2. Third race on the card goes 1 mile and 70 yards, is in the spot. You get a field of 7 to line up, condition $5,000 claimers in here. When you and I are in agreement, we usually do very well. I think we're both in agreement in this spot with Rocket Hotshot, a horse that raced well in that last out. Trainer Jose Rodriguez is having a good meet. Emmanuel Giles having a pretty good meet too, and I think you'll get a decent price in this field. Yeah,
TV Room fan favorite up there, and Rocket Hotshot, why not, can win right back.
Yep.
Has the right running style, is in form, should be able to get a similar trip in here, maybe even offer a little bit of value. Similar, there should be some contention, allow Rocket Hotshot to get their run. They're drawn outside so that it can help as well, but just kind of stalk and then pounce.
And I think so too. And you look at, I mean, Blurt, we figure, is going to show speed, but Midnight Blue Note could be close. Carte Blanche could be close as well too. There's going to be enough pace to chase in here for Rocket Hotshot, and it's not like this one's going to be way out of it by any means. All the best races have come here at Hawthorne. The horse likes this track. As I mentioned, Jose Rodriguez doing well spotted for this race too. And when they dropped down to a similar level in that last out, that was a good solid effort in there.
Is Wicked Surprise your second?
Yes.
All right, we are in line in this race.
And Wicked Surprise is interesting to me because that was just way too tough in that last out. Gun Rush, we know that's a fan favorite here too. It's one of your favorite horses.
He's the only horse I've ever been in a win photo for.
Yeah.
Gun Rush.
And he's good. He's so good. And you think about it, it was Gun Rush in that race, Bialia in that race, because Vinny's a Canuck is a legitimate racehorse there.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to give that horse another shot, and Wicked Surprise on the drop as well there in race number 3. Fourth race on the card, this is a good bunch here. $40,000 optional claiming allowance company. They go 3/4 of a mile. You get a field of 7 to line up. I made Richie's on a Roll the favorite in this spot, just based off the fact that the horses won 3 of the last 4, one of them being a claiming crown race. But at the same time, this is a much different field. That allowance race there was a different level of racehorse from what you're facing in here today. There's some very legitimate runners in this spot. I could see Richie's on a roll in the mix, but this is not like this horse is a standout and has to win either.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those races, and we see these races a lot where they're really competitive fields, and they're horses that know how to win, especially when they're at the right level, and that's really the case with every horse in this field.
Yep.
So you can really start handicapping it from kind of a pace standpoint of where these horses going to be. Richie's in a roll, has early speed, but he's going to be kept honest because you know where Faithful Ruler's going to be.
He's
they're going.
Yep.
And they're like, if you let me go, I'm gone, right? So they have to try to chase him. And then Shackelford Strong, I mean, absolutely nothing to knock on this horse. He is as honest as it comes, but he moves to the inside today.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a shift to where he might have to sit a little bit closer to the pace. Go Emmy's probably going to drop back, not as much early speed in there. And I gave Cortez kind of the chance to kind of get that trip, to sit off that first flight, make their run. Another horse that's been in form all season long, kind of knocking on the door, just coming a little bit too late, and this might be it where they're fit, get that 6 furlong distance, and get the right trip. But yeah, you can start making cases for any, especially as individuals, but when you put them all together, could just come down to trip.
Trainer Armando Hernandez has had a very good meet. He wins at a high rate. The horses find the board at a high rate too. I have Cortez picked second in here. I did go to Shackelford Strong. You make a good note though about the inside draw, because that was a good comment for the last one, for the short comment. Swept to lead, determined, but it was. This is a horse that I think would prefer to move actually on the outside of racehorses, and that's kind of the key.
And they did miss one thing, that he was a little active in the gate, did break a little bit slow before making that move. So yeah, it could come down to trip.
And it could be something where you'd almost prefer to get away. I mean, maybe not just miss the break, but get away just a step slower in here because you're going to have some others showing speed, and you don't want to get maybe sucked into that early pace batter. But Olaf Hernandez has ridden this horse very well throughout the course of his career. He's a good fit for the racehorse, and he's back aboard Shackelford Strong today. Fifth race on the card starts the late pick 4, $4,000 claimers in the spot. We do scratch the 7. That's Opaline. It's a field of 7 now to line up. This was a very intriguing race for me. It was a tough race because I saw it as Play 20 and Cookin' Roses are both cooking on the front end, beating each other up on the front end, and I think they're both going to get beaten here. It came down to me, Aunt Stella, and Essential Bella 1-2 in here, and I know you gave a little bit more of a nod to Essential Bella.
Well, I liked Essential Bella last out. I thought there was enough buried form, was just a little bit sneaky, was going to get that same trip, and ran a good race and less exposed today, coming off an in-the-money finish. But for the same scenario, that should just be able to get that kind of right stocking trip. I see the pace the same way. You've got 2 horses that they're at their best when they're allowed to go and run their race, and I don't think either rider is going to try to get cute with either of them in here.
Yeah.
And so the other one I gave a look to outside of Essential Bella was Palace Magic, just because it's a new face at this level. You look at every other horse who's been kind of competitive at this level, and I think this is the right drop for Palace Magic. Holding form, just not quite on the level of competition. Another one that could just get the right trip, maybe a little bit overlooked as well.
He likes this track too. I mean, Palace Magic 9 times first or second out of 16 starts here at Hawthorne. He is definitely worth a look at a price. And Stella is who I laid on in the spot or landed on in here. She's a horse that has been okay over the track. It was a good win two-back. I think she has to come off the pace with some of the other speed in this field. And she possesses kind of tactical speed more than anything else. Maybe sits 3 or 4 lengths out of it. I just think she gets first run on the late closers, maybe gets the trip. Should be a decent price, as I think she'll be a little bit overlooked. So going to be Aunt Stella for me in a race number 5. 6th race on the card. We go a mile and a 16th in this spot. Again, a pretty tough race in here if you want to get beyond Eyes on Deck. Eyes on Deck, I laid as the heavy favorite. 8-5, but then you look at 1 for 26 lifetime in the win column. 12 times second or third. The horse is always there.
Yeah.
It's just not always there on top. So Eyes on Deck, I think, is who you have to start out with and then work from there. Palhaco is who I ended up with on top. Who did you look to, and kind of how do you see things unfolding in the 6th?
Yeah, the same way is that you have to start with Eyes on Deck and go from there, because it's almost the same scenario today as it was in their most recent start, where Eyes on Deck looked like the horse to beat, ran a good race, and then Perfumers had the last say and kind of ran him down late. And I kind of see a similar scenario in here, just based on the race shape. And I'm hoping that Stolich is the Perfumer of this race, to be able to get that type of trip, has some form, stretching back out to a route, upside with the move in the second start of the form cycle. Should have the edge over Brody's Fly, who has a similar run style, maybe might be a little bit more obvious. But yeah, I mean, Eyes on Deck should have, again, no excuse. If they're the best horse, they run their form, they can get the trip. But I mean, I saw it the same way as you, in the sense that I'd be willing to try to beat him on top, keep him in the mix.
And I tried to beat him with Palhaco in here. Stolich, I see exactly what you're saying. You get back to that race last July the 27th. That was the last time the horse was on the dirt around 2 turns, and did come running on late and ran a nice race there and finished in 3rd. So wouldn't surprise me by any means. My hope in here is that Palhaco can run a similar race to last time. Go out there and make the top early on, but not have to do it in 47 and 4. Maybe if they can back it down to 48 and change, is kind of how things will unfold for me to have a shot, because Hawaiian Hideaway is the other that can show speed. So they have to avoid hooking up. Yeah, maybe, and we'll see, because Minnesota Moon was the one chasing Palhaco in that last out. And it was interesting, because in the lane, Minnesota Moon was actually the first to back out of it. Palhaco kind of ran on to finish 3rd in that spot. But I'm just kind of hoping, and again, you kind of have to ride how your horse is going to run best. I'm hoping they push this one out to the lead and try to make every caller winning one. Maybe do it at a little bit of an upset price there in race number 6.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I
so
think it's clever.
It's definitely worth a shot there, and just kind of see what happens from the gate and how they unfold going into the first turn. Race 7 off the turf, 5/8 of a mile on the main track. We're going to scratch the 1, 4, 5, 7, and a 10. Still is going to leave you a field of 7 in this spot. It's still a competitive race, a maidens in here, but definitely coming off the turf changes the complexion a little bit. David Cohen rides Gavel, Carlos Ulloa on Smilin' Stormy. Ravelli scratches the 1, leaves the other in. I think Gavel now is going to take a whole lot of action from what remains in this field.
Yeah, and he's run some of the faster races. Another horse that just should have no excuse.
Right.
I mean, you know the connections. They're going to, again, like they scratch 1, could have some intent. They're going to catch that off the turf group, just hoping it's a little bit softer. And if it is, then Gavel can win.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they need. They really haven't had much excuse. I think there's some others in here. AP Blazing Green can keep the pace honest, can keep Gavel a little bit honest up front. I think that's necessary. Tough to know. We'll get from the inside 2 horses. Brit Blitz, we don't know if they have speed, but they're on the inside. They might just have to show it, And same thing, Red Rizzler was off slow on their debut, so maybe that horse is one that has a little bit more early speed. They were just unable to show, because in that race shape from Red Rizzler, the pace setters ran 1-2, and there was minimal change in running order. The horse that I'm going to stick with is Midterm. Midterm caught my eye on debut last year. I thought that was a huge race when he rushed up and was against the flow and was wide, and then had that poor weather condition day where the races were canceled at Turfway Park. Then came back last out off the layoff, back here, ran well, was a little bit green, had to again rush wide. Yep. I'm hoping this is the time second off.
That's who I picked.
Yay,
I like Midterm as well too. Looking at that last trip, I mean, it was almost like a little bit of delay to switch leads, lugged in a little bit in the lane, still just kind of trying to figure things out slightly. And your top two horses were pretty good there. Moonlight Road's a horse that's in an allowance tomorrow that's going to take a lot of action. Then Ravenstown was entered in here as well. But I liked Midterm's effort in that last. We'll see what happens at the 5/8 of a mile, but I think this is a horse that actually has a little bit of ability. We're not getting the 10-1 anymore because of the scratches in here. Maybe you get 7-2, 4-1. You never know there.
Yeah,
in race number 7.
mean,
you could.
Yeah, even if it's a horse that you feel is the most likely, and you get the second, and he's a second choice, that could still be value. You know.
Race 8, we take out the 11 to Archer. That horse is entered on tomorrow's card and is in a really good spot. I think the Archer is going to have a shot to win tomorrow. $5,000 claimers. They go 3/4 of a mile. This, again, was a tough race in here. And I like the horse that you commented on first in Carl G, because I thought that was a horse that had a big shot. I went to prices and hurt so bad over Pinballer. I just think this was a completely wide open, super tough race to close the card.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be harder if you said who don't you like in this race, because it is just absolutely, I mean, Carl G, when I first handicapped it, I think I did it before I'd seen your line, and I was like, okay, this horse is going to be short. He makes a lot of sense. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm seeing something that the public doesn't, you know, because looking at optics is different than looking at the racing form. So I was like, oh wow, this horse looks like he could be 5-2 in here. And I'm like, okay, if he's not, then there's some opportunities. But then it's hard to kind of dismiss some others. Pinballer, I think, moves up.
That horse was in the mix.
You have that one in as well. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And then the other one that kind of moves up a little bit, subtle changes, Mon Ami Fuzzy.
Yep, that horse is.
Yeah, you have that one in the mix as well.
I thought he was going to be 4th. Yeah, I put him in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, he ran a winning race under similar conditions. He had a similar plot position back in February. Just was on the wrong side of that 3-horse blanket, and if you would have been on the right side of it, it wouldn't have been eligible for this condition.
Right.
So if I had to kind of pick 3, it would be those. But I'm going to use a 4th. Star of Kodiak.
Star of Kodiak.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I think, you know, here's why. Because I think people will look and say, oh, he's a turf horse. He's going to wait to get to the turf. And maybe, but if you look at the dirt
races last spring were good.
They were good, exactly. And they were all against a lot tougher. And so if you just kind of move those speed figures in with today's group, he's a contender. So
the thing that I found interesting in making lines, I ended up picking Hurt so bad because I thought that horse could clear and never look back. But I thought it was that tough of a race. In making lines, when you look at speed figures, different companies kind of do things a little bit differently. The speed figures that are provided by Equibase, Stu, and Compass, they're always inflated for turf, and they've been shockingly really inflated on synthetic. And that's the thing that I've noticed just kind of going through. And you look at Carl G's lines here, all right, it's 85, 91, 77 for the last 3 on synthetic. And then prior on dirt, 23, 63, 68, 76. They kind of inflate the numbers there a little bit. And it's one of the things that I've noticed just looking through different racetracks and all over the place. It's consistently happening on synthetic. So taking that into mind a little bit, I was kind of, I think with my line, trying to guide people a little bit more to what I expected on dirt. But again, this is a horse that has still run some decent races on the dirt too, but I just tend to wonder kind of how things were going to unfold there. And you never know what's going to happen with Violent Gigi coming out of much tougher races at Oaklawn.
I mean, Violent Gigi that horse was kind of tricky because they have races that make them a major contender. But I just don't know where that horse is in form because those races, it was much tougher, but
it's a tough race.
He could have showed a little bit more. I mean, maybe the 37-day freshening, the scenic change, who knows? Wouldn't surprise, but had to make some decisions.
He can win. He could run off the track. Either could happen. It wouldn't shock me by any means. All right, that's how we see this very tough and competitive 8-race card. Reminder, tomorrow, 9 races for Mother's Day here at Hawthorne. But let's flip back to the opener as horses are in the paddock for the first field of 7 to line up in race number 1. We go 3/4 of a mile, $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 lifetime. 9-5 favorite, and the horse that Emily and I both like in here is the one. That's Mahoney Road. This one from the barn of trainer Cody Rosine. Eduardo Gallardo gets the call today. And Emily, I think we get enough pace to chase in this spot. I think this one gets a wonderful setup in here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's coming in with form in the 3rd start of the form cycle. And each race has been progressive at Oaklawn Park. Needed the race coming off a slight freshening back on March 10th. And then last out had some trouble at the start and made that move. Back on April 13th, that was from the rail as well. They were going to run, kind of try to sneak in one more time at Oaklawn Park that closing weekend. I think this is a better spot. Saying, hey, we can run under a similar condition, catch not a 15-horse field or whatever they were running closing weekend at Oaklawn Park, and scoop up the purse of the horse that's live. And you mentioned the trip. I think checks all the boxes. this is the horse to beat.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Cody Rosine comes in from Oaklawn Park with a lot of live horses. This horse well spotted here.
He's a good trainer.
I think should be very tough. He's a very good trainer, yeah. He's a
a
very
good
good trainer, but really places his horses very well. I like the chances of Mahoney Road as well here in the opener. Now the 5 horses, Gimme the Candy. Gimme the Candy right now currently sits at 2-1 on the board. This one from the barn of trainer Larry Ravelli. Orlando Mojica gets the call today. You get a look at that one in the walking ring. Horse opened as the favorite, second choice right now. Probably shows some speed, but might have a little bit of company also.
Exactly. That was my concern in here. Going back to the win on March 24th, they were able to make that lone lead in there. Really had to send too, not even just kind of established with that quick. Just kind of pushed the horse out of the gate, then was lone on the lead. Not likely going to be the case. Has those kind of paired up those layoff lines. That's always kind of gives some reservations, especially when you're talking about a short price. Obviously has run some of the faster races that make them competitive. They're not taking a big, massive drop on the circuit. Running for 25 here is still a pretty high level. So those things are positives. I just thought at a short price, if I was going to take one of the 2 short prices, going to lean on Mahoney Road, especially when it comes down to trip, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there on Mahoney Road. I like that one. Chances a little bit better. I put Gimme the Candy third. We'll see how things just unfold. Horse walking behind it is the 6. That's Alibi Ike. Alibi Ike from the barn of trainer Antonio Miraz. Currently sitting right now at 5-1. Olaf Hernandez gets the call today. A little bit of tactical speed. I think they might have to take a little bit further back in this spot, but let's see just kind of how things unfold today for Alibi Ike.
Yeah, I mean, you can give Alibi Ike should move forward today. Going back to the maiden win on April 7th, he ran a good race. There's weather conditions that day, got a really smart ride, making that wide move, and then they come right back in 2 weeks to take on winners for the first time, coming off a new top effort. So you expect some regression in there. And Alibi Ike, from a mental standpoint, might not have been quite prepared either because he was very fractious in the gate, had some trouble at the start, had the front wraps on that day. I'm not seeing.
No, looks pretty good,
are
right?
they on? It's hard to tell. Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're just the darker ones. That's something to note, but I think it was the gate and the timing, things like that, could certainly move forward.
And then one other to touch on here. Well, there are 2 others if we have time. The 4 horse at 5-1 is Secession. We talked about this one when it had the maiden score back on April 28th. It was an 11 horse field. It was a 1 horse race there. Secession was the horse that was the complete standout. Claimed out of that spot. They step up quite a bit today. You're going to kind of find out as this is a much tougher test.
Yeah, exactly. A much tougher test, shorter rest, coming back in 2 weeks, tougher group. And also, it's kind of like what I was talking about with Alibi Ike, coming off a new top, has to come back on shorter rest. And if we can squeeze in 2 more if we can, Hey Captain Jack. I think this is the one they're coming off the 3 horse, Hey Captain Jack, coming off the layoff, but has legit early speed. Number-wise, has kind of run races that are similar to Gimme the Candies, kind of touting himself a little bit, on his toes. So does have the front wraps on today, but had worn them in the other 2 starts, so that doesn't bother me. And if things do kind of heat up front, Ancient Man, number 7, who is walking right in front of the camera right now, maybe can pick up some pieces, get into that deeper mix at a big number, 24-1.
Yeah, we'll see how things unfold there. We should have riders up momentarily. We had a couple of horses, the 2 and 3 were a little bit late to the paddock there, but they're getting their saddles on right now. So we should have riders up momentarily as they head out for the opener. Good luck.
On the track for today's first race to go 6 furlongs. Field of 7, no rider changes. Number 5, Gimme the Candy, carries 2 pounds over the program weight. Win Play Show, Exacta Trifecta, Superfecta. This race starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, the 50-cent pick 5, and the $1 place pick 8. 5 minutes to post. We are off the turf. All the races on the real dirt track, and that track is fast. Here's the field, 1 Mahoney Road, Eduardo Gallardo riding. Number 2 is Win Over Wyatt and Julio Felix aboard. 3, Hey Hey Captain Jack, Rashawn Blanche riding. Good to see Rashawn back in the saddle today after a mishap on Sunday. Number 4, Succession, Emmanuel Giles riding. 5, Gimme the Candy, the rider is Orlando Mojica. Here's number 6, Alibi Ike with Olaf Hernandez. And number 7, Ancient Man, Frank Reyes, will bring him to the gate, and they'll all be there in about 4 minutes to kick off the Saturday program. Once again, we are off the turf. All the races on the real dirt track. That track is fast. 4 minutes for the first at Hawthorne. Racing fans, those of you just arrived, we still have time to wager on today's first race. We're starting a little bit later than normal. Mutual windows remain open. We are off the turf today. All the races are on the real dirt track. That track is fast. Once again, we do thank you for joining us, wherever it may be across the betting network, here at Hawthorne. Inner track facilities, off track facilities, in the comfort of your own home. We do thank you for joining us today. Once again, track is fast. We are off the turf. We have a strong tailwind in the home stretch of about 20 miles per hour. Seems to be letting up. So we'll go from anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour tailwind in the home stretch. Once again, still time to wager on the first race. This race starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick threes, the 50-cent pick five, and today's $1 place pick 8. Once again, we do urge you to make your selections early, avoid being shut out on any of your selections here at Hawthorne or simulcasting. If you're here at Hawthorne, plenty of action to go today on the sports end of it. PointsBet Sportsbook will be open today for your convenience. Closest starting time for race 1 at Hawthorne. Moving towards the gate, less than a minute. Better hurry. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race, first of 8 on the Saturday program. Don't forget Sunday we have 9 races, hopefully back on the turf tomorrow. They're loading up for race 1 here at Hawthorne. Last 2 to go in will be Succession and Ancient Man. Succession going in, waiting now for Ancient Man. No, it wasn't named after me. They're all on the gate at Hawthorne. Slight delay here. Starter over by the gate, checking in on riders off number 6. Number 6, Alibi Ike, being backed out of the gate. Slight delay. Rider climbing back aboard, Alibi Ike. Still waiting for Alibi Ike. Starter Blue Knot back in position. We're ready for a start. They're off. Towards the inside, Mahoney Road trying for the lead in between horses. Succession moves out, 3 deep, Gimme the Candy, 4 wide is Alibi Ike. Then towards the inside, Hey Hey Captain Jack. Then towards the inside, Win Over Wide, Ancient Man, a wide 7th as they run into the far turn, a battle for the lead, Mahoney Road and Succession. And around the turn they go, Mahoney Road leads ahead on the outside, Succession right there, these two still going head and head, nose and nose for the lead. 2.5 lengths back, Gimme the Candy tracking from 3rd. And then Alibi Ike has lost a bit of ground 4th. Inside, Hey Hey Captain Jack tries to rally on. Looking for room in the back of the pack. Win over White. Ancient Man on the far outside. Around the turn, they're in the stretch. Gimme the Candy. A big 3-wide move comes off the turn to take the lead and quickly draw away. It's Gimme the Candy now by 3. Mahoney Road trying to fight back second. Succession retreating. And then on the outside comes Win Over Wyatt, followed by Alibi Ike. They're in deep stretch. Gimme the Candy. Mahoney Road trying hard on the outside, but Gimme the Candy wins the Saturday opener. Mahoney Road second. Win Over Wyatt third. Alibi Ike was fourth. In today's first race, 5, Gimme the Candy finished first. 1, Mahoney Road was second. 2, Went Over Wyatt third. 6, Alibi Ike fourth. 5126 is posted. It's unofficial. 110.56 the running time. Returning the unofficial winner, 5, Gimme the Candy. I prefer Kit Kat. Gimme the Candy is owned by Patricia Soap Limited Liability Corporation of Vince Foglia, also owned by Frank Mustari. Larry Ravelli, the winning trainer. Orlando Mojica, the winning rider. Still unofficial. Today's first race is official. Running time 110.56. It's official. Prices and more in a moment. Before I give you the prices, here's claim information. 5, Gimme the Candy was claimed. New owner Ishmael Thoroughbreds Limited Liability Corporation. New trainer Eduardo Rodriguez claims 5, Gimme the Candy. Exacta 5 1 for $1, $4